T. Gray and MK, you are now cleared for flight school takeoff.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
So let's get down to business. We're so glad to see you guys. Hey, we got a real good flight school plan for you guys today. Today, we're going to do a presentation workshop. What's up, Diamond T.R. Edwards? I see you, man. I see you. We're going to do a presentation workshop. And I don't want you guys to think about a presentation as just when you're standing on stage. We're even talking about when you're on Zoom and whatever. So, and people's living rooms. So we're going to talk about how to be effective, how to win, how to crush that presentation and get the end result that you want today. We're going to have a lot of fun doing it. So that's going to be what we're going to train on. So if you've got team members that are not on flight school just kind of yet, you want to ring their bell, text them, WhatsApp them, carrier pigeon them, send out some smoke signals, whatever. Open your window and ring the chow bell if you gotta, but get them on flight school before we start this training. All right. Hey, look, Blue Diamond, Jackie Pippins, let's go. All right, disclaimer time, everybody. Ibüümerang is a place where you can make money. And you know what? Learning how to get the message across effectively is going to help you make that money. But here's the one thing that we can't do. We cannot, Ibüümerang cannot and will not make any guarantees about how much of that money you as an individual are going to make. Why? Because everybody's going to do something different. Some are going to take all these great presentation tips and then they're going to take them and then they're going to do a lot and then they're going to make a lot. And then you're going to have some people who are going to take these presentation tips and they're going to do a little and they're going to make a little. And then you're going to have some folks that are going to take these presentation tips and they're going to do nothing at all. And say it with me, they're going to make nothing at all. Right. So which one of those three people is you? That is a question that you need to ask the man or woman looking back at you in the mirror when you brush your teeth and floss per Mark Cathcart every day, twice a day. Love you guys. Let's rock and roll. Let's have some fun today. Guess what? We don't have a video. So Mark is going to do the video live for us in 5, 4, 3, 2. Mark.
Stay connected with the WhatsApp community, iboomnation.com. Go there, fill out the information. Telegram, join our search at Ibüümerang and click join. All right. No August leaders' birthdays are for this week. So, but you can still go to the BüüMFoundation.com or your back office. Every little bit helps the children if you click auto ship. All right, chargebacks. If you charge back, you will be terminated. iboomhub.com/downloads. You can download the multiple use credit card form. That will keep you from getting chargebacks. All right, do not give your funds to anyone for trading. Ibüümerang will not be held responsible for your loss of funds. Cross recruiting and switching teams, it's grounds for termination for both the switcher and the sponsor. It's not allowed. This is your brick, 300 PQV. Dual team qualified, 1 left, 1 right. 10 elevate customers, 1500 QV. That all adds up to 1800 PQV. And you want every person on your team to accomplish and maintain this. CEO Circle, you can go to, for 10 elevate customers, you can go to all events, but you've got to be qualified for 3 months in advance. 20 CEO Corner, 25 elevate customers, all virtual and live events, including elevate food camps, but you've got to be qualified for 3 months in advance. Rank up. The training call recordings are on iboomhub.com. We got your feedback from that survey. So we're going to implement those changes. So YouTube playlist is live, youtube.com/iboomerang. That's right at the top. Ibüümerang rank up presentations by your top leaders. Log into rank up, click prospecting videos, grab the link and send it. And you've got to match up the prospect with the presenter. Profit Snatcher testimonials now in Rank Up. Log into Rank Up, click prospecting videos, click Profit Snatcher testimonials, grab the link and send it. Again, you've got to match up the prospect with the presenter. Travel and Trade Corner with Doris Lopez. It's on Wednesdays. We like to call her D-Lo. and it's Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Elevate Private Coaching Program, Deanna, Shameen, G Money, Marcus, Jonathan, and Luis. They will help you get to your trading goals. Trade Buddy Lounge, live trading with the best profit coaches, Trade Buddy subscription required, and people are making money in the trade. All right, send us your Profit Snatcher wins and Trade Buddy video testimonials. Send your Elevate and Trade Buddy testimonials to profitsnatchers@elevate.com for the written, TradeBuddyTestimonials.com for the videos, and that is either Elevate or Trade Buddy. Profit Snatchers monthly schedule. Profit Snatchers America's every first and third Wednesday of the month, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then Profit Snatchers Europe every second and fourth Thursday of the month, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. UK time. All right. Elevate Trade Buddy call with Shamim Agahi. He is a master trader. It's at Tuesdays at 4 p.m. He's going to help you understand how to use Trade Buddy to maximize your profits. Hey, here we go. So we need to go to trustpilot.com and search at Ibüümerang. Search Ibüümerang.com and leave a positive review. So please, please, please do this because we are so on the reviews. Okay, Trade Buddy. This has been a big week for Trade Buddy. 8/12 through 8/16. Gold, 8 trades, 7 wins, 1 loss, max pips, 1,087. The win rate was 88%. Profit for 1 lot traded is $10,870. GJ, 7 trades, 6 wins, 1 loss, max pips, 1,002. And win rate, 86%. Profit per 1 lot traded, $6,022. All right, UCAD, 13 trades, 11 wins, 2 losses, max pips, 228, win rate, 85%, profit per 1 lot traded, 1,669. That's 28 trades, 24 wins, 4 losses, 86% win rate, and 2,317 wins, or max pips. All right. Here we go. P. Greg.
Bro, I really felt like you were doing the video. I promise you, like in the beginning, I'm like battling myself to not interject. I'm reminding myself, this is why we do a video, because then, I catch, like when you said, this is your brick, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, don't throw it at anybody. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm watching you do this presentation, this thing. And then eventually I just kind of faded into feeling like I was watching your normal video. So when you stop and you start calling my name, I'm like, why is he calling my name in the video? I'm like, this is weird. This is strange.
Yep. Trade Buddy. Dude, Trade Buddy.
Trade Buddy.
Week.
Oh my God.
Shamim said, let's see here. Shamim said, one of the things you can mention or use, Mark, is Trade Buddy called the goal push for what is currently at a 500 pip move and a 310 move on GJ. Yes, sir.
You see what I'm talking about? Trade Buddy. How many Trade Buddies customers do you have, folks? How many Trade Buddy customers do you have? You've got like, yeah. Basically you have a gold brick, no pun intended. And we got to get the word out.
Yeah. Donnie Pips, he called the gold push.
Mm-hmm. Donnie Pips. This came out just random on Friday, like, hey, gold, it's on the elevator. And people made shmoney, honey. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, folks, I'm telling you right now, this community needs to get a whole lot bigger.
Yeah.
Those mouths don't get fed. Summer's over. Let's get down to business. All right. It's the Blue Zone.
Yeah.
It's the Blue Zone, everybody. What do we do in the Blue Zone? It's about massive sponsoring. And, even though sometimes we're going to go through them like real highlight level, the whole idea is we need to get our teams and our company into a rhythm. White zone, blue zone, gold zone, white zone, blue zone, gold zone. Right now, we're in the blue zone for just a couple more days. Massive sponsoring. What are we doing? We're following up. We're follow through. We're doing the three-way calls, and we're getting people in the game. That's what we're doing. That's what massive sponsorship is about. It's about all those people we expose in the first 10 days, really following through with them and getting them in, right? And once they get started, helping them to do what? Immediate results. First 2 customers, dual team qualified, first week paycheck. Boom. Get your new people paid. Get them paid. Cha-ching, you got paid. That's what needs to happen to your new people after they've been in the business for 1 to 2 weeks. All right, here we go. Well,
All right.
you're here already?
Yes.
Oh, you know what? You didn't get my note about the slide that we needed.
Yes, I did.
Okay, I want to talk about that before we get into the training.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leadership notes.
Okay. I wanna talk to you guys real quick, just a semi-serious moment before we get into our training. Okay. How many of you have realized, how many of you been in network marketing for a while? How many of you been in network marketing for 10 years? What happened to your slide?
Yep. Nope. Yep. There we go.
How many have been in network marketing for 10 years or more? 10 years or more. Give me my 10 years or more, 10 years plus people, right? What would you guys all say? Those of you who've been in network marketing for 10, 15, 20 years, how many of you, what would you say is the number one thing that has changed about how we do network marketing today versus the early 2000s, let's say, or the late 90s or whatever? What would you say the number one thing is? Exactly, Rich. Technology, Vita says Zoom, virtual. Erica, that's it. Social media. Bonnie, you're right. It's social media. You know, back when Mark and I started in network marketing, we didn't have social media. So if you wanted to post something, you found the nearest dinosaur and you just kind of I'm just teasing, right? We just didn't have social media, right? Facebook like came about during that time, right? And then, you know, and now we have social media has just gone nuclear. You've got Facebook. Facebook is old even, right? Facebook is but Donnie's like, why are you calling me out? Facebook is old. You got now Instagram is a beast. WhatsApp is actually part of social media. TikTok. Come on, who even imagined a TikTok, right? You know, Tom Pasick is right. We had napkins. You got lives. We had napkins. We're in a diner drawing circles and comp plans on the napkin.
Yes.
Right? FX Rich, you remember when the email came out and email actually worked because it was new and so people were checking it, right? I mean, voicemail. Come on, folks. Right? These are all things that are part of the evolution of network marketing. So social media, we gotta think about what we're doing with social media. When you're in network marketing, in particular, your social media is designed to attract. It's also a place to communicate, and it's also a way that we connect. I want to see everybody put on the chat, connect, right? Connect. And it's one of the ways we're all connecting. Like, for example, let me ask you a question. I just want to see in the chat, how many of you follow Ibüümerang, Mark, Tigray, or Holton on any social media? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. How many of you? I just want to see how many of you follow any or all of us on social media. I just want to see. I'm watching the chat. I want you guys to look at the chat too, right? I want you guys to see your team members' names come up. Hi, Janan. How are you, my love? Diamond Janan is in the house, right? How many of you follow any of us, right? Okay, let me ask you this. How many of you follow other people in Iboomerang on your social media? And let me qualify this. How many of you follow people on social media that are not your upline or your downline, but they're in Iboomerang? Look at that, right? Another question for you. How many of you, when you meet a new person or someone's going to introduce you to a new person, one of the first things you do is you go and you check their social media to see who they are? How many of you you maybe have an office job and you're in a management position? If you're about to hire somebody, before you hire them, you try to find them on social media so you can see who they are. Right? So what we need to remember is that our social media is, even though it's like, I'm going to talk to you about mine, okay? Even though that's my account, right? And it's my page. And technically, I can do whatever it is that I want to do on my page. I have had to learn that my social media no longer belongs to me. And I actually learned it. I learned it in one of my previous companies that I was a diamond in, right? So I was one of their top diamonds worldwide. You know, Facebook is blowing up. The whole company practically is following me on social media. My Facebook page is my Facebook page, right? That's mine. So when I left that company and I have followed the rules. I actually got on a plane before when I made the decision to leave because I was one of their top leaders. I flew to corporate. I sat down. I looked them in the eye. I said, hey, we've had a good run, right? We got some problems here. We tried to fix it. Can't fix it. Time for me to bounce. But here's what you can expect from me. I looked the president of the company in the eye. Here's what you can expect from me. I will not tear this company apart on my way out the door. I'm not going to go recruiting the people that are in this company, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go build it new at a new company, right? But then I promoted. So then what I did is I went on my Facebook and I said, hey, guys, look, I got a big announcement in 3 days. And then the second day I put up another video. Hey, guys, I got a big announcement coming in 2 days. And then I got a big announcement coming in 1 day. And on the third day, I announced, hey, guys, after 5 years focused in this one deal, I am now making a move, right? I instantly got a letter from that company's legal department. Why? Because I failed to realize one thing. My social media no longer belonged to me since the whole company was following me. What I was doing, and I will tell you this in all honesty, inadvertently, it was innocent, and I didn't realize it, but what I was doing was I was recruiting the entire company. So what I did is I stopped and I said, hey guys, look, I'm taking a 7-day break from social media. And during these 7 days, here's what I want you to do. This video was somewhere on my Facebook. I said, if you are in company XYZ and you are not in my group and you don't want to know about what I'm doing going forward, I love you, but I need you to unfollow me right now. And I posted that message every single day for 7 days before I continued out of respect for that company and the other leaders. So what I want to share with you is that even more so today, your social media is not your social media. My social media is not my social media. There are things that I would like to express about myself and what I believe that I will not put on my social media. Why? Because it would destroy your business. Your team, I could post some things on my social media and your whole team would call you right away like, oh my God, what's going on? Does that make sense? I have to think about who's on there. So what I want to challenge you guys to do is watch what you post. If you want your social media to totally be your own, what you need to do is you need to take an afternoon and make everybody who's not on your team unfollow you. But if you've got people from other teams that are following you out of respect for the other leaders and giving them the respect that you want for yourself, you need to be mindful of what you post on your social media. Now, one of the first things you need to stay away from is politics and religion. Especially those of us in the United States, we have an incredibly contentious presidential election thing happening right now. And some of us, I would venture to say almost all of us, have strong views one way or the other. And what I've noticed is it leads to fights, arguments, judgments, whatever. And so whoever's grandmother it was that said, don't talk about politics and religion, she was right. So don't post it on your page. If you're a leader, if you're just one of the little guys and nobody cares, and sure, knock yourself out. But if you've elevated to a leadership position and people follow you, cross lines or whatever, especially if you're one of our presenters, can't do it. You're going to have people.
T-Rex president.
Hey, I got to say this. If you could lose business, you can lose people, and you can lose people for other people over what you post on your social media. Also, as a leader, you've got the right to say, hey, this is something I want to do for my team, right? We're all following the Holton Bug system, but there's things that different leaders want to do for their team, right? Before you put it on your social media, I want you to think about this for a second. Who else's team is going to see that? So now you're going to have to put in a little bit of extra work to figure out a way to promote this thing that you want to do for your team to just your team, out of respect for the other leaders. So you can't get on your social media talking about, hey, I got this group, whatever, blah, 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 and I'm providing special coaching and it's X amount of dollars and whatever, blah, blah, blah. You're promoting that on your page, and you meant that to be just for your group, but now you got other people from other groups saying, oh, I think I want some of that. And now it's like you're messing with somebody else's kids. You are creating a challenge in how they want to raise their kids, right? You're not doing it purposely. You're not being malicious, but you got to be mindful of what you're doing, right? It's got to be mindful. It's like when your kid is acting up in a restaurant, you got to be, especially in America, you just be able to whoop your kids anywhere. You got to be like, okay, little Johnny, I'm gonna deal with you when I get home. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I want to challenge you guys to think about your page. And some of you legitimately have other businesses. Hey, we like business people, right? We like business people. Some of you legitimately have other businesses. Hey, please be mindful about what you're promoting so that you don't step on your cross line, your other leaders. Okay. So let's just be responsible citizens of each other. Let's just be mindful, right? Mark and I, we got to be real mindful. Holton's got to be real. Go to Holton's page. I can tell you right now, you will not be able to find out what his religious beliefs are. You'll not be able to find out what his political views are. You won't be able to find out what his other business interests are. You won't be able to find none of that on his page because he could post something. He could make one post that will throw your business into total confusion. Right? So, somebody's asking, what if I create another account not associated with the company? Yeah, that's fine. You're going to have to go the extra mile. If your name and your face is still on there, it's still you, right? Let's just be smart about this, right? So you're going to have to go the extra mile, create another page, take your face off it, take your name off it, promote, if it's your other business or whatever, just promote the business. But we can't let our pride, our ego, and our vanity get in the way. One of the best mentorship tips that I've gotten from one of my mentors in life is this. And I want you guys to write this down, underline it, put asterisks on it. You ready? Here we go. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. Just because you can does not mean that you should. So just because it's your right and it's yours and you can post whatever the hell it is that you want to post, and nobody can stop you because it's your page with your name on it and you own it and whatever, it doesn't mean that you should. Okay. So let's just take this as a lesson. That's one to grow on. I had to learn this lesson the hard way. I don't want you guys to learn the lesson the hard way. And let's just respect each other, be responsible citizens of this world and of this company.
All right. You good?
Right. Good.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, bro.
Remember Saturday morning TV, you say that's one to grow on, right? That's one to grow on. All right, cool. All right, folks, let's rock and roll. Let's do what we're here to do. Presenting. We're going to have some fun. We're going to keep this interactive. So ask me questions in the chat. And at the end, we're going to have some Q&A. We're going to have some Q&A so that you can, if I miss anything, we'll make sure that we get it covered. But grab your notebooks. Let's have some fun. You know, I want to start this with a story. I remember when I first teamed up with Holton Bugs, we had such an amazing team. And I have to give it up to my mentor, my friend, my CEO, who is iconic in the industry. And a lot of people don't realize what it is that Holton does exceptionally well. A lot of people don't realize what it is that Mr. Bugs does better than anyone that I've seen. And what he does better than anybody that I've seen is he is the preeminent culture builder in this industry. He builds culture like you wouldn't believe. And we've got some plans to institute that in Ibüümerang. And those of you who are not sure, you've got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, thinking about, you know, the lures that some other people are drawing. And now is not the time. You're going to be trying to get back, you know, you're going to be trying to get back. It's so funny. I was watching, one of the shows that I'm watching right now is Drive to Survive. It's a documentary series on Netflix about Formula One racing. And the winningest team is the Mercedes team, and the winningest driver is Lewis Hamilton. And I'm at a part in the series where he's been with the Mercedes team for 10 years now. And the first 8 years was win. They won 8 team championships. And he, as a driver, matched the record of the most world championships, 7 world championships, Lewis Hamilton, right? And he's on track to break this record and get 8. Well, the rules of F1 changed about how much money you could spend, right? They tried to equalize everything. So Mercedes had more money than everybody else. Now they're like, okay, nope. Everybody has to spend the same amount of money. Nobody can go over this amount. They changed the rules on the cars. They can, you know, to try to even the playing field. And the first new car that Mercedes came out with during the under the new rules was crap, right? I mean, to win the race, you need 2 things. You need a winning driver and a winning vehicle. You need a car that can actually go the distance and that can finish the race. And that first year, Mercedes and Lewis got a taste of something that they didn't like, which was losing, right? Something that they had absolutely no experience on. I just changed the setting and put my green screen closer. All right, cool. You know, so now they're losing and they have nothing, you know, have no experience with that. So, you know, the next season, during the off season, they worked to improve the car. They worked to fix the cars and all that kind of stuff. And they come back a second year with a crap car, can't win. So now his contract is about to be up. Lewis Hamilton's contract is about to be up, and the rumor mill is going. They're like, is he going to leave this team because they're down, right? Is he going to leave Mercedes because they're struggling? Is he going to go to Ferrari? Is he going to go to Red Bull? Is he going to go to one of these other teams because they're down? And Netflix kept interviewing him. They kept trying to see, get into his mind. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Do you think that in order to get that 8th world championship, you need to go to another team with a faster car right now? And Mercedes just kept telling him, hey, just believe in us. We've been a family for all this time. We will give you a vehicle that you can win in. Just believe in us. And you know what? Unlike many other drivers, and over the course of the series, I'm on season 6 now. Over the course of the series, a lot of drivers in the same position switch teams. This car can't win. Let me go over here. This car can't win. Let me go to this other team. And one of the guys that did that, Daniel Ricciardo, he switched teams, and it exposed him that maybe the reason he was winning is because he has such a great car, and now he couldn't win. He went to this team, couldn't win, went to that team, couldn't win, went to that team, couldn't win, and they cut him. And now he just didn't have no team. And these are multi-million-dollar jobs, right? Now he's just out. Nobody can hire him because he's just, right? But Lewis Hamilton, what did he do? He made a different decision. He announced, no, I'm going to stick with Mercedes. I'm not going to leave this family because it's down. I'm not going to leave this company because it's having a couple of bad years. I know that as a team and as a family, we'll turn it around, and I am a part of the solution. Right. So I'm just here. I kind of went off on that tangent because I know that some of you guys have people in your ear saying, oh, let's come over here. Let's go over there. And they go, and it seems like they're having some rapid success. But the reality is anybody can start well in network marketing. All of the comp plans are designed the same. They're all designed to pay you a lot of money as you develop your team, as you get new people on. Come on. And every time somebody signs, it triggers a bonus. But if you got any level of experience and sense, you know that that's not the real money. The real money is, can I create a residual income here? Can I create a long-term income here? Can I create a business that's going to last here? And none of those guys are even able to do that, right? Some of them they're in their new businesses too new. They're bragging about their income, but that's not the income they should be bragging about. It's what is your residual starting to look like? Talk to me in 6 months, 9 months, a year, 18 months. Do you have a residual income? I can tell you right now, those plans are not designed to pay that, or the companies are. And we look at some of the folks that have made those type of decisions, and they're like Daniel Ricciardo. They've been 1 company, 2 companies, 3 companies, 4 companies since they left here, right? So what I love about Holton is he's an incredible culture builder, and I will always bet on Holton Bugs. Now, one of the things that he did back when we first started is he created this this concept called master, right? Because it was all about mastery. And we had master team builder, master recruiter, and master presenter, right? And master presenter wasn't about giving good presentations. Master presenter was about giving effective presentations. Master presenter was not about who was up there the most entertaining, who's the funniest. Master presenter was about who does that presentation so incredibly well that people just are dying and falling over themselves to get into the business, or at least to become a customer, right? And it was a genius concept, and it really had us all very focused on how effective could we be. And I'm pleased to announce that, yes, I did win Master Presenter, right? Master Presenter. And I've been doing this for a while, and it's because of a lot of different things. So what we're not going to do today, if you thought that today we were going to go slide by slide through the Ibüümerang presentation, I'm going to teach you what to say about each slide. Nope, not today. That's not what makes you effective. What makes you effective is when you can share the vision in such a way, complete package, that people make a decision before you even finish. I want to be a part of this. I remember one presentation that I did. This couple, we had gone up to, I live in Houston. New Orleans is 5-hour drive away. We'd gone up to New Orleans and Baton Rouge to do some team development. And I remember being in New Orleans, with one of my team members, one of my leaders, and we just kind of had gone on a Louisiana tour, right? And now it's Saturday night, and we had done our last presentation, and we put all the presentation stuff away, and we're in the pool, and we're smoking cigars, and we're drinking now, and this couple from Baton Rouge shows up. It's like 10 o'clock at night. And backstory is the reason why they kind of get held up in traffic, and it took them so long. It took them like 2 hours to go 45 minutes, right? Baton Rouge and Louisiana and New Orleans are 45 minutes away, right? And but during Mardi Gras, it's not 45 minutes, it's 2 hours. And so we mistakenly schedule all this during Mardi Gras, right? So here they go, they show up at 10 o'clock. So what do? We sober up, we put our clothes back on, we pull out the presentation stuff, and I start to explain to them what that particular company was all about. The presentation was so effective that they said, man, when are you supposed to go home? When are you going back to Houston? I said, I'm leaving here tomorrow to go back to Houston. And they said, well, how many people would we need to get together so that on your way back to Houston, you'll stop in Baton Rouge and do a presentation, because we want to get this started now. And I said, if you can guarantee me 25 people in your living room, I will come to Baton Rouge. So the husband and wife, they go off to the side, they huddle, they come back, and they said, see you in Baton Rouge tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And on their drive back from New Orleans to Baton Rouge, now mind you, it's 11:30 p.m. now. They start calling people. You got to hear this. You got to hear this. You got to get to my house tomorrow at 2 o'clock. So tomorrow being Sunday, right? I call my wife and I'm like, I'm going to be home a little bit later, right? So tomorrow being Sunday, I drive from New Orleans to Baton Rouge and I get to their house. The first thing I notice is that their street is full of cars like it's 4th of July weekend. I couldn't park anywhere close to their house. We hadn't trained them yet about saving me a spot. So I ended up parking blocks away. I'm walking, I'm seeing these cars packed, and anybody live in a community where you can tell when one person in that house is that community is having a big party? That's what this was, right? It was just like that, right? So I'm walking to here. Carson, I'm like, this is crazy. I get to the house and there's people packed to the door. Like I couldn't even get in so. I couldn't get in. I'm like, excuse me, I'm the presenter. Excuse me, I'm the presenter. Excuse me, I'm the guy you're waiting for, right? So I get in. They got people sitting on the floor. I'm in their living room, standing in front of their TV. They got everything set up for me. And there are people at my feet. There's like not even room for me to pace and walk around, Gregory. And so we get going, right? I meet some folks, shake some hands, kiss some babies, whatever. We go ahead, we get started. I'm sharing the story of that company. And Letitia, I kid you not, when I got to the packs and the enrollment packs, and I said this, I said, hey, listen, guys, this is a dual team system. These guys saw it last night in New Orleans, and look what they did. Look how they packed this house. If you don't think that they're going to develop a winning team, you are out of your skull. You got to know that they're going to tear this thing to shreds. They're going to build a massive team. As a matter of fact, who believes that these two, with all of their influence that is clearly been demonstrated, is going to build a massive team? Who believes that? All their hands went up. I said, well, listen, here's how we're doing this. We're not going to let them play favorites. We're going to give you guys the paperwork to get started. And some of you can make a decision faster than others. And those of you who can make a decision on spot are going to override the folks who need to think about it. The ones who got to go home and talk to their spouse. They told you bring your spouse. You didn't bring your spouse. So if you got to go home and talk to your spouse, you're going to end up at the bottom of the tree. If you got to go check your postman, your priest, your dog, and see what they think about it, you're going to end up at the bottom of the tree. Those of you who can make a decision, this makes sense to you, and you're ready to go, will override the others, and they'll be part of your income. So when you fill out the paperwork, bring it up here. The first one we get, we're going to put a 1 on it. The next one we get, we're going to put a 2 on it. And the next one we get, we're going to put a 3 on it, and so on and so forth. And that's how we're going to put them in. And at that moment, this is what I heard. Give me the damn paperwork. Somebody from the back yelled, give me the damn paperwork. They started climbing over each other. I didn't even get to finish my close. We had to just get the paperwork. They're practically throwing it at me. And I called an audible. I said, hey guys, how many of you would like to make your money back? Let's do this again in 2 hours. Grab your phones. How many people can we get here? And while they started calling people, I called my wife and said, babe, I'm not coming home for a couple of days. And we did it again. 2 hours later, that house was packed, even worse than the first one. We did it again. I stayed there a whole week doing presentations. So what makes an effective presentation is not that you are so eloquent and skillful and smooth with your words. No, it's what happens afterwards. Like Saturday, when we put together the incredible, unbeatable team of Blue Diamond Jackie Pippins, Emerald Donnie Pips, and the GOAT himself, Holton Buggs in Atlanta. What happened? Is Holton smooth? Yes. Is Jackie smooth? She's good. And I'm going to tell you how good she is. She's so good. And Jackie's going to hear this for the first time. I purposely didn't tell you all week. That when I talked to Holton, and I'm like, so how'd it go in Atlanta? This is what he said. Jackie's good. She's really good. Right? So Jackie's, and I've seen Jackie in action. She's an incredible presenter. And I've seen Donnie do his thing in front of the room. And he's an incredible presenter and trainer. And you guys all know Holton is the GOAT. They had 52 guests in that room, and almost everyone signed up. Most on spot. That is an effective presentation. So that's what we're going to talk about today. How to do an effective presentation where at the end of the road, people say, yes, I want to be a part of that. And their actions match their words. You notice when that couple, when they joined in New Orleans and they went home to Baton Rouge and they got their people together, it wasn't that they signed up and they thought they got home and they're like, oh, what do we get into? No. They signed up and they were energized, moved to action. They didn't just sign up and say, okay, well, now let me go read everything. No, they signed up and they were like, yo, let's make this money. Let's tell everybody about this. That's when you know you have crushed the presentation. So let me show you how we do that. What makes a successful presentation? Well, what makes a successful presentation is when you are thoroughly prepared, when you deliver the message effectively, and you create a genuine connection with your audience. And those things combined equal the last picture on the page. When you can get those things to come together, you get people saying, I'm in. I want to use this stuff as a customer, or I want to be on the team because I see what y'all are doing and I want to be a part of that. So what I want you to realize is that if you have people not joining your team, we need to go here. Does that make sense? We need to go here. We need to work on this stuff. So what's one of the first things? One of the very first things is you got to look good. How many of you guys have ever been to the supermarket? How many of you ever been to the supermarket to buy some groceries? Anybody been to buy some groceries? Let me know if you've ever been to the supermarket to buy some groceries. I should get a yes out of everybody, right? Yes, you've been to the supermarket to buy some groceries. How many of you have ever been to the produce section to buy a tomato? Anybody here ever buy a tomato? Anybody here ever go to buy a tomato? If you've bought a tomato at the grocery store in the produce section, let me get a yes in the chat. If you ever bought a tomato, I got a question for you. Which tomato did you buy? There was a bunch of tomatoes in there. They usually have them piled up. Which tomato did you buy? How many of you stand there and you're picking up multiple, you came here to buy one tomato, but you're standing there doing what? You're picking up tomatoes, you're turning them around, you're putting some back. Why did you put some back? The ones you put back, why'd you put them back? Like Lacey said, I chose the dark red firm one with no blemishes. Peg said, I put the one that was squishy back. It was squishy. I put it back. So says, I bought the prettiest one. Yvonne said, the one that was a little smashed, I put it back. The one that was a little too ripe, I put it back. So in every aspect of our life, we are drawn to the things that look good. How many of you guys, when you buy a loaf of bread, or a box of cereal, you never grab the one from the front, right? Because it's a little bit beat up, right? You move it around and you grab one from the back. Why? Because you want one that looks fresh. You want one that doesn't look damaged. You want one that doesn't look like everybody freaking touched it. So just think about how we operate as humans and think about when it's time to present how you come to the table. Do you look good? And I'm not just talking about when you're getting on stage. I'm not just talking about when you get in front of people's living room. I'm also talking about Zoom. Do you look good? If you guys ever see me post my stuff on Instagram, you know I got a whole studio going on here. I got lights. I got a green screen. You saw me have to adjust it a little while ago because I didn't click the little setting on Zoom that says I have a green screen, right? I make sure that I'm in a room full of light. I make sure my camera is sharp. I clean my lens. I had on a blue shirt today. I had on my blue Ibüümerang polo today. But when I turned on all the lights, I realized the shirt was wrinkled and you could see it in the camera. So I keep a spare Boom Gear shirt in my office here, and I put this on because this always looks good. But you make sure you look good. I do my face like I'm going out to see people if I'm going to be on Zoom. I got lotion. I got chapstick because Holton said that's the key to success. Oil my beard, brush it. Ladies, how do you show up on camera? Do you do your hair? Do you at least put a little bit of your face on? How you guys showing up to people's homes? Okay, it's just a home meeting. No, it's not just a home meeting. I was talking with my wife the other day and she was like, what would you say is like, if you had to like boil your success down in life, why are you so successful? And I say, because I take everything seriously. When it comes down to making money, I take it seriously. Donnie said when he leaves his house to go do a presentation, he makes sure he's so he makes sure he's so clean that his wife think he have another girlfriend. But that's how it should be. So that's why we live in a business casual world today. That's why I didn't put any ties on here. Because frankly, if I see you with a tie, gentlemen, I'm gonna cut it. But we have to make sure that we look good. And by the way, like Will Smith said in that movie, The Pursuit of Happiness, when you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you play good. So before you turn on that camera, before you leave your house, do you look at, fix your hair. Fix your hair. Blue Diamond Jackie Pippen said on chat, She goes, I can't do business with you if you're trying to sell me a dream, but you look like a nightmare. Okay, so this is where presentation starts, because this is where it starts. Now, here's what happens next. It continues, this looking good thing continues when you drive up. Is your car clean? It doesn't matter if it's a name brand status car. If it's dirty, it's dirty. Don't pull up in a Range Rover, look like you just came from off-roading. Go through the drive-through wash thing at the car wash or something. Keep a little tire spray in the back of your car. By the way, if you pull up in somebody's driveway with your nice shiny car, but inside your car, you got papers everywhere, McDonald's and whatever all over the car. Come on, man. Clean that thing. What them shoes look like? Somebody say, what do the shoes look like? What them shoes look like? You all dressed clean, top to almost bottom? No. Clean them shoes, right? Maybe you have to have some shoes that you only wear for presenting. I don't care if you like them. I don't care if they're comfortable. You got to make sure you have some clean shoes. All right. So look good, all of it. And that includes how you walk in, right? We'll talk a little bit about that a little later though. Next thing. Practice, 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 practice. PDDG, you're so funny. You're talking about when I talk about the shoes. He's like, what are those? Right? Michelle says she always look at a man's shoes. Make sure you get them shoes right. Don't have to have a Rolex, but it does need to be clean. There's such a thing as too big and too gaudy. It will not serve you. If you don't have a fancy watch, just go simple. If you're going to wear your Apple Watch, no problem. Invest in some bands. Go on Amazon, search for Apple Watch bands. Invest in some bands. Okay? Ladies, I'm going to go back. Sorry. Y'all took me back. Get your nails done. Gentlemen, nails too. Nails too. I remember PDDG caught me. We were doing a Zoom one time. He caught me between manicures. He's like, oh, T, I see. What's up with them nails? I'm like, oh, my God. We got to check each other sometime. Gentlemen, you can get your nails done, or at least keep them trimmed. Teeth, brush your teeth. Here's a trick. A lot of us drink coffee. Some of us smoke cigars. So you want to know the trick to keep your teeth good? Baking soda. A little baking soda with your toothpaste. It's a little abrasive. It'll help keep your teeth from being so stained. But always make sure that breath is good when you walk in there. All right? Look in the mirror. Make sure here's the check, everybody. You look in the mirror, make sure you don't have anything in your teeth. Make sure your lips aren't chapped. Make sure you don't have any boogers in your nose. Make sure you have any boogers in your eyes. Make sure your eyebrows are okay. It just takes, because once you get out there, you out there. Okay? So we could probably go on about that, but we're gonna go to the next slide because we have a few of them. All right, so practicing. Who can tell me one reason why you should practice? Who can tell me one good reason why you should practice? Y'all don't know? I got to improve, to perfect it. But Letitia has got it on point. Yvette's got it on point. Samantha's got it on point. Letitia says, so you know what you're going to say. Yvette said, so you know your presentation. Samantha said, so the presentation becomes a habit. You see, here's what you don't want to do. You can always tell when somebody is presenting something they're not familiar with, because they have a lack of certainty. They're uncertain of what comes next. They're just reading the slides. They're stumbling over the words, right? You don't want the first time that your face muscles say the words in the presentation to be in front of a live audience. So what you do is you practice. You practice, you practice, you practice, you practice, you practice. Today we have so much technology. You can go on a Zoom by yourself, do the presentation, and then play it back. Watch the tape. And watching the tape is a championship habit. Let me tell you guys, I'm gonna go back to, since I'm on this Drive to Survive thing, this Formula One thing, let's talk about that. They rewatch every race and they got all sorts of technology and they break it down. Okay, we did this well in the first section and we kind of fell behind and our pace was this and our car was doing a little this, and they got all sorts of geeks, and they have, like, on a Formula One team, some of them have 1,000 employees. They have them in a room like freaking NASA with computer screens and data, watching it again. And how do we do? And how did they do? And whatever. Watching the tape is a championship habit. Do you watch yourself? If you want to be effective, you do a practice presentation, you watch and you take notes about yourself. Okay, maybe I need to smile more. Maybe I need to be a little more intense at this part. Maybe I need to do whatever. Maybe I need to do this with my hands. I need to look up. I need to whatever, right? But that's what practice is about. So that's how you get to be really good. Getting good doesn't just happen. Even if, for those of you who have natural talent, great, that gives you an edge. It gives you an advantage, but you still need to practice. You still need to practice. Practice makes better. And once you've practiced, one of the things that you can do now is you can more easily connect with your audience, because now you're not tied to the slides. You're not tied to the presentation. So you can actually now look at the camera or look at the audience and make eye contact, because you're not tied to the slides. You know your material. You know your material. Now, part of connecting with your audience is getting there a little early. Okay? These two slides go together. Part of connecting with your audience, one of the things that can make it easier to connect with your audience is to make friends before you start your presentation. One of the ways that you can connect with your audience and be really effective, and by the way, is there anybody here who gets nervous doing presentations? Anybody here who gets nervous? Be honest. I get nervous. Oh, every single time. Nervous every time. And by the way, those nerves are a sign of humility. Those nerves mean that you're leaving just a little bit of room for God to show up. So it's okay to be nervous, okay? But here's one of the things that can help you to quell those nerves. Be a little bit early and take some time to make some friends before you start. Now, don't be in the empty room waiting for people to show up. That's a bad look. But once there's some people in the room, you get out there for a few minutes and shake some hands. And don't tell everybody you're the presenter. Just make friends. Just welcome people. Just walk up and be like, hey, Roy. Now, by the way, how do I know his name is Roy? And of course, I'm talking about live presentations, not Zooms. But how do I know his name is Roy? Exactly, right? We already trained on that. The team put a name tag on him. And so in big letters, it says Roy. So I walk up and I'm like, hey, Roy, I'm T. Gray. How you doing? Good to see you here. Awesome. Great. Who invited you? Leo? Oh, man, Leo is fantastic. That's awesome. That's great. So how do you know Leo? Oh, cool. Fantastic. Roy, what do you do? Oh, I know some people who do that. How long have you been doing that? What made you decide to do that? All right, cool. Well, listen, Roy, we're going to have a great time today. If you like doing what you do, you're going to really love what you hear here. Oh, you hate doing what you do? Okay, no problem. If you hate doing what you do, you're going to have a great time here tonight. And I think we're going to be getting started soon. I don't even tell them I'm the presenter. But now Roy feels welcome. He's cool. Now, when I get up on stage, when Roy sees me up on stage, what do Roy and I have now? Am I some stranger presenting to Roy? Nope. Roy and I have a connection. We have rapport, right? What do I have when I'm on stage? Who do I have? Since I've met a few people, what do I have in the audience? That's right, Bonnie. I have some familiar faces, some names. I have some, thank you, Peg. I have some friends. So that takes my edge off. I don't have to be as nervous because I know Roy. We go way back. A whole 60 seconds. But do you see what I'm saying? So they are disarmed and so am I a little bit. I don't have to be so nervous, right, Carson? Because I got people in the audience that I've met already. I am no longer talking to a room full of strangers. So that is a actual serious presenter tip. That's probably one of the best things that we do. The super prima donnas, they now have to come out on stage and create a connection. I already got one. Roy sees me go up on stage. The person gets up there and is like, hey, it's time for us to get started. Okay, I want to introduce to you, blah, blah, blah. He's this, he's that, he's the other. It's T Gray. And I go up and Roy goes like, hey, I know him. Hi, T Gray. I'm like, hey, Roy, what's up, bro? I didn't know it was going to be you. Yeah, I know. I didn't, You see what I'm talking about, folks? So that is one of the secret weapons of master presenters. We create connections with people before we get started. We use their names. I like this picture. I don't usually use the pictures that have watermarks and stuff over them, but this was like the perfect picture. This is the perfect picture. Why? He just heard something good. What did he hear? The sweetest sound to any human being. The sweetest sound to any human being is the sound of their name pronounced correctly. The sound of their name pronounced correctly. So, Jonan, it's good that you put that LOL there. Perfect timing, right? Because every time, once in a while, you're going to meet somebody with a different kind of name. So we're going to use Jonan, for example, one of our diamonds in Germany. So those of you who've been around for a while, remember the Jonan era. You guys, how many of you remember that the several episodes of Flight School where Mark and I were trying to learn how to properly say Janan's name, right? And we had just so much fun with it, right? But why was that even a thing? Because it's important. Her name, exactly, Vita. We butchered her name because it's spelled Canan. So we're calling her Kanan. No, it's Janin. At a certain point, she gave up. She was like, it's okay. I'm like, no, it's not okay. How many of you remember what I asked? I said, send me a voice message with the proper pronunciation of your name. Because we're relentless on it. We want to get it right after, because that is the most precious, sweetest sound to a person. The sound of their name pronounced properly. And I meet people all the time that have names with different pronunciations. You can say it different ways. And they say, oh, no, this is just whatever. I'm like, no, I want to know, how do you like to hear it? How do you say it? And it's worth the time to demonstrate the interest to learn the name and learn how to say it properly. Okay? So names are important. How many of you have ever said these words? Oh, I'm not good with names. Let's have an honesty moment. How many of you have ever said these words? I'm not good with names. And somebody actually said that to me last night. I was in a room full of attorneys, and one of them said, "Oh, you just know everybody's name. I'm not good with names." How many of you have ever said, "I'm not good with names"? I'm waiting for you, Facebook. Where you at? How many of you have ever said that? Right? Okay. Never say that again. Never, ever, ever say it again, because it's a negative affirmation. Every time you say it, you make it more true. So never say that again. Okay. Instead, put in the work to become good at names. All right. YouTube, go on YouTube and search, how can I remember people's names? Something. But learn people's names. It's so, so crucial. Okay. Next piece. Who's bringing you up and how are they bringing you up? I should have put a subtitle on this one to say, inspect what you expect. Inspect what you expect. So if someone is going to bring you up, make sure they know how to bring you up. Like, I don't want people to get up there and tell my whole story, but I want to teach them what to say about me. What do I say about T. Gray? Hey, everybody, I want to introduce you to a gentleman who is an incredible professional, a tremendous family man, and just a great leader. This is a guy with 17 plus years of corporate experience as an executive and over 20 years of success as an entrepreneur. I'm excited to share with you that this is the kind of person who has actually built the type of business that we're going to share with you today successfully more than once, and is now leading this company as its chief operating officer. Allow me to introduce to you our chief operating officer, my friend, Terrence Gray. I'm going to teach people how to say that. And by the way, we all call him T. Gray, right? I teach people how to bring me up. Why? Because that's how I need to be brought up. Does that make sense? Take the time, inspect what you expect. I'll write it out for a person. I'll record it for a person and send it to them. But you teach people how to bring you up. It's important because it all flows. It all flows. All right. I chose this picture because how many of you have ever seen people racing? I'm Kate. We just had the Olympics. How many of you have ever seen people racing on track? Right? Anybody? Anybody ever seen this before? How many of you ever seen somebody stumble out of the blocks? Anybody ever seen somebody stumble out of the starting blocks? If you stumble out of the starting blocks, what does it typically mean? You're going to take an L. You are going to take an L. All right. For those of you who are a little older, who don't know what taking an L means, you're going to lose. It's not going to work. It's not going to be good. All right. So the beginning is so important. How many of you realize that track athletes actually practice starting out of the blocks? They have entire days where all they do is start out of the blocks. All they do. So you should not leave your opening to chance. This is the one part of your presentation that you probably should script and do it the same way over and over again. Don't worry about your team. They're already in. This is for the new people. So do it. And all the new people are going to hear it for the first time. Craft your story. Tell your joke. Get in. You want to make sure that you do not leave your first impression to chance. Don't get out there and try new stuff out on people that you have not practiced and made perfect. That first impression is everything. But if you get out there and you're talking about some humming, I'm going to tell you right now, you're done. You are done. Does that make sense? All right. Also, it is very important that you speak clearly and with confidence. Okay? That confidence is going to come from those practices. And I chose this picture because here you have a young lady presenting to a room full of guys. But when you look at her face and you look at her posture, you could tell she has their, and you look at them, she's got their full attention. Why? Because whatever she's talking about, she knows what she's talking about. She is the master of her subject matter. She's not up there just winging it. So you want to have that level of confidence. Exactly. That's like Black Diamond, Desi Lipova. You could put her in the room with anybody and she's able to speak with confidence. We've actually done that to Desi, where we had a whole schedule for one of our events and we shuffled the schedule around and said, Desi, hey, you know what? I know you were supposed to go after lunch, but you're up next. And you know what she said? Whatever you guys need me to do. And she got up there and she did what she had to do. Period. Full stop. We've even messed her up and said, you got to go. She thought she was going to speak on Sunday. We're like, hey, we need you to speak today. And if anybody here knows Desi, Desi's the kind of person that if she knows she's going to speak on Sunday, she's going to come dressed a certain way on Sunday. She's not going to come dressed badly on Saturday, but she's saving her best of the best that she wants to be in on stage on Sunday. And here we come not only telling her, hey, you got to speak today, it's Saturday, but 15 minutes from now. She doesn't even have time to go to her room and change. But because she is so familiar with what she is talking about, nobody would ever know. Because she is always prepared to speak with confidence. Okay? Now, we got people from all sorts of backgrounds and countries. Some of y'all are from the country called Texas. Like I can tell you right now, one of my mentees in the past from right here in Texas spoke with a deep Texas jowl. J-O-W-L, Texas drawl, D-R-A-W-L. Like you had to listen real close. And you wanted to be a presenter. I literally had this particular individual practice reading from magazines out loud. I told him, slow down. I want to hear every letter. And I want you to do this for an hour a day so that you can speak clearly. People tell me all the time, T. Gray, I can't really tell where you're from. I'm from New York. You don't sound like you're from New York. I live in Texas. You don't sound like you live in Texas. And that's because my mother made sure that I don't sound like I'm from anywhere. My mother told me from the youngest, she said, when you grow up, you are going to speak before thousands. And they're going to listen to what you say and not be distracted by how you speak. Because if you don't speak clearly, your audience will not fully tune in to what you are talking about. They will be partially distracted by how you speak. Does that make sense? So it's worth the effort to practice speaking clearly. It's worth the effort to get familiar with the material. It's worth the effort to make sure you're dressed appropriately and all your stuff is right, so that when it's showtime, you have confidence. Gentlemen, have you ever gone to the restroom just before it's your time to speak, got out on stage, and in the back of your mind, you're wondering, did I pull my zipper up? Anybody? Anybody other than me? Anybody other than me been on stage and you're talking and you're speaking and you got 100 or 1,000 people watching you, so you can't really check and you're just wondering, oh, did I zip it up? That's a male speaker's nightmare. And it messes with your confidence. It's worth taking that extra time. It's worth taking that last check before you come up and like, okay, I'm good. Does that make sense? So there's things that can erode your confidence. Make sure that you take them away from yourself. All right. This is going to be a strong one right here. Refresh your mind. Come on. Everybody with me? Refresh your mind right now. Press your reset button. Let's go. All right, cool. I learned this from Mr. Bugs himself. And this is called the 3 Ps. Okay. And I put a gear shifter on here intentionally because these 3 Ps are like driving a stick shift car, right? Imagine anybody here ever drive a stick shift car and you're driving a stick shift car? What happens if you stay in first gear the whole time and you never shift? Gonna be a rough ride. It's gonna grind. It's gonna drag. It's gonna be uncomfortable, right? You've got to shift gears. Right? What happens if you get up to 5th gear and now you get into a slow zone and you don't downshift? What happens? What happens? Your car's going to shut off, right? You're going to have all sorts of problems. So when you're presenting, you have to also constantly shift gears. And Holton taught me this concept called the 3 Ps. These are your 3 variables. These are your 3 gear shifters. It's called pace, pitch, and power. Okay. Pace means that you're going to vary throughout your presentation the speed at which you are talking. Did you see how I did it just now? You're going to vary within your presentation the speed at which you are talking. Everything doesn't need to be fast. You can't do the whole thing fast and talk about, hey, Ibüümerang is this and it's so amazing and elevate and trade buddy and whatever. If you do your whole presentation like that, your audience will be exhausted. And you can't do the whole thing slow and talk about Ibüümerang and trade buddy and I go for less. And the whole presentation is kind of like this. Your audience is going to sleep. All right. So you want to vary your pace depending on which point you're trying to get across. Same thing with pitch. Pitch is volume. Pitch is volume. If your entire presentation is loud and strong and the whole time from, hi, my name is T-Grade to thanks for coming, the whole time is like that, your audience will be exhausted and blown away. Everybody's hair is going to be wigged back like this, right? So what you do is you vary your pitch, you vary your volume. And sometimes what happens is when you bring your voice down a little bit, you can use that as a tool to get everyone's attention. And then you can make your point. I just modeled it for you. Okay? And then there's this concept of power. Power is about intensity. Power is about intensity. Okay? Your whole presentation can't be so intense that at the end of the day, your audience is frightened and horrified and afraid to leave the room. Okay? You have to vary your power, right? And you have to know where in your presentation to be powerful. And if you don't use power the entire time, when you do use power, it'll make a point. Okay. So if next time you see Holton do a presentation or a training, watch Mr. Bugs as he goes. Now listen and now look for the art in the presentation. You will be amazed at how all of these things, he does all these things when he's presenting or speaking. All right. Next, watch your body language and your nonverbals. Watch your body language and your non-verbals. This means your face, right? It's one of the ones that I had to work on. I started out, now I come from a very, very corporate environment. We're all very serious, and I come from New York, okay? So I come to Texas, and I'm doing presentations. I'm in front of the room, and I'm very corporate, and I'm very strong. And then one day, my wife in the back of the room, she gets a piece of paper, and she writes a note. And she holds up the note. I wish I had a piece of paper that I could replicate this for you. But she holds the note up and the note says, smile. Because even though my presentation is picture perfect and my language is clear and I'm speaking with confidence and varying my pace, my pitch, and the power, I'm mean. I'm looking mean, right? So I had to smile. She's showing a note Says, smile, sir. Even now, periodically, I just hear it in my mind. Smile, boy. So I have to smile. All right. Same thing with your body. What are you doing with your body? How do you stand? Right? Do you know, can you even stand still? Or do you have to move the entire time? Is your audience exhausted watching you? Right? What is your body saying? Even when you're on Zoom, now remember Zoom, you're sitting, you got this much of you showing. What are you doing with your body so that you're engaging? Okay. What are you doing with your hands? Is it too much? Is it in the pocket, out of the pocket? What are your eyes? Are you looking at people? Are you looking down? Are you looking up? When it comes time to give facts and figures, are you looking away? Liar. That's what that means. I'm lying. Right? What is your tone like? Are you scolding? Are you mean? Are you commanding? Or are you pleasant? This is why Jackie is so good, because she does all of this stuff so naturally. I watched Jackie present when she came to Houston. I'm like, she's incredible because she just does all this stuff very naturally. And she gets up there and she speaks in a way. If you want to know why her close rate is so high, she speaks in a way that even if she was selling individual bags of dog poo, you just want to be with her in whatever it is that she's doing because of all of this type of stuff. All right. And I'll teach you guys, by the way, one little presenter trick for those who, because I know some of you guys are starting to do live meetings, larger meetings in hotels and stuff. Invariably, you're going to have one of your guests get up and leave to go to the restroom, to go to answer a phone call, or just leave, right? If you're connected to your audience, you'll see it happening before they even get up. You'll see them fidgeting, fuzzing around or whatever. And you say, that person over there on the left side is about to get up. So I learned this from Mr. Bugs. You know what you do? You walk to the right, you walk to the opposite side of the room. In the front of the room. So that person sitting on the left, you walk all the way to the right. Because what happens now, you'll take everyone's attention with you to the right, and you're watching that person go ahead and get up and leave. Very few people are now distracted by it because everybody's looking at you. And maybe you get to the right side of the room, and maybe this is one of those places where you change your power. So you make sure you have everybody's attention. Or maybe you do something that gets everyone's attention. You say, you know what? I was just thinking about it and then it hit me just like that. And I'm on the right side of the room. I got everybody's attention. Nobody even saw that person leave. And I can see in the back of the room when they come back in and they're about to come back, I do the same thing because I want everybody to stay in my attention. Right? Because I'm leading them. My presentation isn't just me spitting out information. I'm working to lead them to a conclusion. Does that make sense, everybody? All right, cool. Excellent. All right. Leverage the power of stories. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because I've been telling stories the whole time. How many of you have enjoyed the stories? I started with this story. I told you a bunch of stories, right? It just happens. Why? Because stories sell. Facts tell. I could give you a bunch of graphs and charts and statistics about presenting and who presents more and who's more effective, whatever. You guys would be asleep and gone. Right? Stories sell, facts tell. All right. And then there's humor. Why do you think Mark and I are so crazy on flight school? Because we have decades of listening to boring people train and get up there and say, you need to present the business like this, and you need to present the product like this. And it has 18 milligrams of Hungarian super juice in it, and that's why it's going to help you grow a new kidney. I mean, come on already. That's boring. Who wants that? That's why we like to have some fun. Okay. And guess what? When you have some fun, people relate to you, right? It's all part of you being relatable. And here's another thing. Donnie said these words to me on Sunday, and it just really stuck, right? Because it's kind of a newish phrase. You need to read the room, right? So yeah, you do the presentation the same way all the time and it's good. But you walk into this particular room and the people are just a little bit different, but you don't see it because you're just in mode. Like somebody pushed a button and now you're just doing your robotic presentation the way you always do it. And you're not even paying attention to the fact that the people in this room might be a little bit different than you normally present to. And you may need to change your game. Change your game up. Look at who you're talking to. By the way, this kind of loops all the way back to getting there a little bit early, shake some hands, and you'll know who you're talking to. But read the room and adapt a little bit, okay? Adapt to your people. By the way, some of you, if you walk into a room full of extremely professional people, it's time to make your presentation shorter. Attention spans, the more successful people get, the shorter their attention spans. I know how mine is. If you send me a voice recording and your voice recording is more than 2 minutes long, I promise you I did not listen to the end of it. I can't do it. I can't do it. My attention span has shrunk. So you got to talk to me like you're talking to a CEO. When I get on the phone with Mr. Bugs, I can have 10 items I need to talk to. And I tell him, I say, okay, we need to get into business mode. I got 10 things I need to cover with you. Some of them are going to be really quick. A couple of them, I need a decision. You ready? Okay, topic number 1. Because I already know Mark and Anna will back me up on this. When we get his time, we don't have a long time. That's why he doesn't even sit in on our weekly executive meeting. He doesn't have that kind of patience. So if you walk in to do a presentation to a group of successful people, cut it down. You don't have to tell every story. You don't have to be as entertaining. You just need to get down to it and show them how they can make the money. Okay? Next, make it interactive. Don't talk at people. Make this a thing we're doing together. How many times have we been in the chat? How many times have we been in the chat today asking, how many times have you done such and such? Me. How many of you have whatever? Me. What's this? That in the chat. Why? Because it's interactive. You're engaging your audience like this guy is, right? Ask a question, raise your hand. Who, whatever. Okay, so you make it interactive because, by the way, movement refreshes your audience. They can last a little bit longer. They can take the journey with you a little bit longer if they're engaged in it, if they're part of it. So engage your audience, make it interactive. All right. For those of you who like to get up there and talk about your BVs and your QVs and your PQVs and your CVs, stop that. They don't know what you're talking about. If you confuse your audience by using industry jargon, industry terms that your audience is not going to be familiar with, here's what happens. When you use an acronym that people are not generally familiar with, you lose your audience for 30 to 60 seconds while they try to figure out what it stands for. Does that make sense? You're going to lose them. If you say, hey, listen, so now let's talk about this pack. You do this pack, you're going to get 300 QV. And now as you go on and now talk about other things, they are no longer with you. They're sitting there like, okay, what's QV? Quantitative value? Is it, quick vitality? Is it quantum vision? Meanwhile, you're already on 2 slides later. They're still trying to figure out what QV is. Don't say QV. Why does QV even matter to a prospect? Does that make sense? You see what I'm saying? So don't use jargon. Okay. Here's another example of jargon. So I was talking to Martha, who's a Sapphire, and let me tell you what she said. Now your audience is not listening to you anymore. They're trying to figure out what the hell is a Sapphire. What is a Sapphire? They don't know what a Sapphire is. They're not in. They don't know the comp plan. They don't know the rank structure. If you're going to use ranks, you're going to have to qualify that information. You're going to have to say, she's reached a level of success in our business called Sapphire. It just means that she's making a certain level of money. Since we don't like to get up here and talk about money, we use these ranks in order to demonstrate a level of success. And the level of success that Mary has reached is called Sapphire. Let's give her a hand, everybody. It's a big deal. Now they're not worrying. and wondering and trying to figure out what a sapphire is. Or maybe we could just say, hey, I want to bring up Mary because she's very successful in the business. And now you don't even have to explain it. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Play the recording if you want to hear more about that. Next up, watch your time. Watch your time. Okay, so now this is a self-indictment, right? We need to be mindful of our time. Unfortunately, for some of us who have achieved a lot of success and who are in strong leadership positions, like your fearless leader, like yours truly, like presidential diamond Derek Gibson. I can't go down alone, DG. I got to take you with me, right? Some of us, we can get a little bit lengthy, right? So we need to watch our time. We need to watch our time, especially based on your audience. You got to watch your audience. Now, some of you guys are getting in time trouble because of the way you're reading every slide. I do have a couple of slides from the presentation in here that I want to show you how you're supposed to do them. Okay, you ready? Get your stopwatch out and go. Let's talk about travel now. And now let's shift gears and talk about trade. Ibüümerang is the company. It's an incredible company. We've been around since 2019. Our concepts are proven. The opportunity is global. This leadership team, you wouldn't believe the backgrounds that these people have and why they're so qualified to lead here. This is one of the things that makes this business amazing is that it doesn't cost a lot to get started and your monthly expenses are very low. But guess what? Even with that, there's no limits to the amount of money you can earn. Next slide. Please do it like that. Okay, some of you guys are taking 15 minutes on this slide. Why? Some of you guys are taking more than 5 seconds on this slide. Why? Some of you guys are taking more than 5 seconds on this slide. Why? All right. Don't talk about trade here. The next slides are going to talk about trade. This is a transition slide. Does that make sense? So those of you, this is where that practice comes in. Thank you, Tom. That's where you got to practice. Okay. Next one. Networkers need to hear this. I need everybody to hear this clearly. Come closer to your screen, wherever you are. I need you to come closer. I'm getting closer. You get closer. Everybody close? Okay, cool. I need you to hear this. You ready? The truth is good enough. Like Will Smith said in that movie Concussion, tell the truth. Just tell the truth. The truth is good enough. You don't need to exaggerate. You don't need to overstate. Mr. Bugs is not a billionaire yet. He's on his way. And when he gets there, we'll call him a billionaire. But if you're calling him a billionaire and he's not a billionaire, here's what happens. Your audience is going to catch a disconnect. You're going to lose them for a little bit while they process the lie and they try to figure out, do they forgive you? You don't need to overstate your income. Why? It's not even about you. If you're presenting to me and I'm in your audience, I don't really care how much you make because I'm probably going to out earn you anyway. So you don't need to overstate your income because then I'm going to be processing in my mind. I'm going to be trying to match it up. You're going to lose me for a solid 30 seconds to 2 minutes while I try to size you up and try to figure out if you're telling the truth. You don't need to overstate how much your trading results. You can get up there and say, yes, I'm still trading a demo because I am still learning. You don't need to perpetrate. Where my hood people at? Where my New Yorkers at? You don't need to perpetrate. You don't need to front. Yeah, Tia, that's right. You don't need to stunt. Right? Absolutely. Just tell the truth. The truth is good enough. The truth was good enough to get you here. Why? It's so funny. I listen to some of these stories and I watch them get bigger and I watch them get bigger and I watch them get bigger. As one person tells it, the next person tells it, the next person tells it. And I'm just like, PDDG just said in the chat, stop capping. Right? Stop capping. Right? And kids say today, no cap. All right? So just tell the truth. Kill questions in advance. First of all, don't let people ask questions in the middle of your presentation. Do not let people ask people in the beginning of your presentation. All right. If somebody tries to ask a question in the middle of your presentation, here's what you need to practice saying. Practice saying this. Practice saying it. Hey, you know what? That's fantastic. But I'll tell you what, let me ask you to save your questions to the end. All right, so that I can get through the information in a timely fashion. And then I promise you, look me in the eye. I promise you, you will get all your questions answered today. Does that make sense? Thank you, Letitia. Mr. Bugs did that in Atlanta. Why? Because he's a pro. He's not gonna answer your question. Don't answer the question. For those of you who live in America, you know the Lay's potato chip brand, the Lay's potato chip commercial. Questions are like Lay's potato chips. You can't answer just one. Lay's says you can't eat just one. Questions, you can't answer just one. You answer one question, you will be answering questions, and you are now off track, and you're not giving a presentation and giving the information that needs to be given. How do you kill questions in advance? If you're hearing questions, start to answer them in your presentation. Right? So for example, you might have people ask, how much time is this business going to take for me? Well, guess what? Now in your presentation, kill that question. Hey guys, what's wonderful about this business is that you control your time. Some of you, this will be your primary thing that you want to do. Great. You'll be able to put lots of time in. Some of you are going to do this on a very part-time basis, and maybe you'll only put 30 minutes to an hour a day, a few days a week into your business. Guess what? It'll work in any of those circumstances. It's actually a business where you can do it full-time and you can do it part-time. The only thing you can't do is you can't do it sometimes, because then that's too sporadic and you won't get great results. You see what I'm talking about, folks? And by the way, thank you, V-Dubs. Emerald Vita has just pointed out a very good thing. Questions are for guests. If you are on the team and you have a question and you answer it, I will shoot you with a tranquilizer dart like a pygmy in the jungle. Don't do it. If you're on the team, ask your questions later in private, not during my presentation, unless you want to die. All right? Fantastic. Next up. When it comes time to end your presentation with a call to action. Don't end your presentation with thank you. It's not a performance. End your presentation with a call to action. Tell the people what to do. Tell them you are in control. You got the steering wheel. You not giving a call to action is like you pull up to the curb and you tell everybody to get out, but you don't put the car in park. It's still rolling. People are trying to figure out what to do. Is it safe? Is it safe? No. You wrap that presentation and you tell these folks what to do. Hey, listen, folks, this has been fantastic. And if you watch Mr. Bugs, he's telling you what to do from the beginning. He tells you again in the middle, and then he tells you in the end. Right? If you listen to my presentation, I tell you, hey, look, we're going to be looking for a decision at the end. Whether you want to be a customer, whether you want to join our marketing team or not. At the end, we do this 1, 2, 3 close, ABC close, whatever it is you're doing, but tell people what to do. Give them some instructions. Let them know what you expect as the end result of your hard work over the last however long you've been sharing this information. Okay, so folks, those are just some things. I could probably go on for another hour. I will not, but those are just some presenter tips that I have benefited from. And there's a reason why at the end of the day, I've been able to give effective presentations where people sign up. I really don't care about people come and say, man, that was a great presentation. You're so good. How many people signed up? That tells me how good I am. If I get up there and I entertain you to death, but nobody signs up, I'm a shit presenter. Yes, I made it this far without saying it. And then I said it, but I said it and I meant it. Right. So anyway, let's take a couple of quick questions. We're going to wrap this up. It's 9:47. I want to take 1 or 2 quick, fast questions, and then we're going to wrap up and let everybody get out of here for Saturday. Mark, come on back, brother. All right. If you got a question.
Hey, put some 8s in the chat for T. Gray, my brother.
Thank you, sir. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Great. Does anybody have a question? Going once. Going twice. All right, then what do I want you to do with this incredible information? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go practice your presentation. And then I want you to give some presentations. And over the next few weeks in the chats, I want you to come in and just randomly put in there, hey, listen, I applied some of those presenter tips and here is what happened. I want to know what happened when you varied your pace, when you changed your pitch, and you challenge yourself to drive with a little power when it came time to make your point. I love you guys. Marky Mark, that's a wrap.
All right. That's good. Yeah.
All right. All right. All right. Cool. Hey, everybody, we're going to take a quick picture. We're going to let you guys go on 3, 2, 1, and. All right. Hope you had a blast. Hope you learned something. And hope you have an amazing weekend, everybody. Later, bro.